Welcome! Today we're reviewing RankPrompt, an AI search visibility platform that helps businesses understand how often their brands appear in answers generated by ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, Grok, and Google AI Mode. RankPrompt also provides tools for content optimization, citation analysis, technical SEO, and competitor research. In this review, we'll test the website across different devices and screen sizes. We'll evaluate its performance, accessibility, responsiveness, dark mode support, and overall user experience. We'll also identify the strongest parts of the landing page and the areas that could be improved. Let's begin by examining the landing page across several desktop screen sizes. Our first test focuses on responsive design, content visibility, and how effectively the layout uses the available screen space. We'll start by reviewing the different desktop views and their overall presentation. This first view represents the website on a Dell UltraSharp monitor running Windows. The device has a relatively large and wide display, allowing us to see how the landing page behaves when a significant amount of horizontal space is available. At first glance, the content remains clear, readable, and properly aligned. However, the main content container appears relatively narrow compared with the total width of the screen. Because of this narrow container, we can see a considerable amount of empty space on both the left and right sides. The page is still usable, but it does not fully take advantage of the available display area. When we switch to the Microsoft Surface Pro 11 view, the result is noticeably better. The content occupies a more balanced percentage of the screen, and the overall layout feels more natural. There is much less unused space on either side, making this version feel more polished and visually balanced. Moving to the HP Pavilion 14 view, the website also looks good. The sections remain readable, the spacing feels reasonable, and there are no obvious layout issues. The Lenovo ThinkPad view produces a similarly positive result. The main point is that the website performs well on regular laptop displays. However, its layout feels slightly too constrained when it is displayed on a very wide desktop monitor. On larger screens, I would recommend increasing the maximum width of some sections. This would allow the website to use more of the available space while still maintaining comfortable margins. The empty space does not need to be removed completely. However, reducing it slightly would create a stronger visual balance and make the page feel less restricted on widescreen monitors. These observations can also be shared directly from the testing platform. You can capture a screenshot or scan the displayed QR code with your phone to open and review the result on another device. Now, let's examine the desktop performance statistics. The time to first byte looks good. DOM content loaded also performs well, and the initial rendering metrics appear healthy. Most of the performance measurements are positive. However, JavaScript execution time stands out as an area that could benefit from further optimization. Some of the median results are higher than expected. This suggests that the browser may be spending too much time processing scripts. It is the most noticeable performance concern in the desktop test. Page load time also appears higher in several of the tested views. This does not necessarily mean the website feels completely slow, because the most important visual content may appear much earlier. However, the total loading process continues for longer than expected. JavaScript execution time and overall page load time are therefore the two main performance metrics that should be investigated. This pattern appears across multiple tested views rather than being limited to one device. That suggests it may be related to the page itself, its scripts, or its third-party integrations. Next, let's examine the website across different mobile devices. In the first view, some elements initially appear slightly compressed, but the overall layout remains functional. On the Google Pixel 8, the landing page looks good. The Samsung Galaxy view also performs well with readable content, appropriate spacing, and no major horizontal overflow problems. Overall, the mobile responsiveness is solid, the design adapts effectively to smaller screens, and the primary sections remain readable, accessible, and visually consistent. Now, let's review the mobile performance results. Time to first byte is good. DOM content loaded is also good, and first contentful paint remains within a healthy range. JavaScript performance is acceptable in most of the tests, although a few of the 12 tested views show slower results. Page load time is again the main area of concern. Some mobile views take longer than expected to finish loading. The mobile experience is well designed, but page load time and JavaScript execution could still be improved. Optimizing large scripts, delaying non-essential JavaScript, and reviewing third-party integrations may help reduce the amount of work performed during the initial page load. Now, let's move to the full-page screenshot test. Here, we can see a large empty area between the beginning of the page and the footer. This may indicate that some sections were not captured or rendered correctly during the automated full-page screenshot. However, the footer was still rendered at the bottom. That suggests the page remained present, but some intermediate content may depend on lazy loading, animations, viewport detection, or client-side rendering. This behavior should be investigated because it can affect automated testing, visual regression tools, screenshot services, and the way some search engine crawlers render the page. Looking at the browser logs, the page navigation completed successfully. There are no major application errors visible in the console. A few analytics-related requests appear to have failed. However, this is not necessarily a critical issue, especially when the website is being opened inside an automated testing environment. Next, we'll examine the Accessibility tab order. This test simulates navigating to the website using only the keyboard. It helps us determine whether interactive elements receive focus in a logical sequence and whether users can access the most important controls without relying on a mouse. This particular recording shows the website in a mobile viewport. The navigation order generally looks reasonable and most of the interactive elements can be reached correctly. However, the skip to main content link becomes visibly displayed when it receives keyboard focus. A skip link is an important accessibility feature for keyboard and screen reader users. Normally, the skip link should remain visually hidden until it receives focus. If it appears before focus or remains permanently visible, its styling should be adjusted. Apart from that point, the focus sequence looks good. The interactive elements can be reached, and I do not see any major issues with the general keyboard navigation order. Now, let's move to the shrinking test. In this test, we capture the full desktop view and gradually reduce the visible page to around 30% of its original size. This helps reveal how the visual hierarchy behaves at different scales. At this level, the page still looks good and the major sections remain distinguishable. The overall visual structure is maintained. When the view is reduced further, however, the top header becomes difficult to see and eventually appears to disappear. This is partly expected because smaller elements lose visibility faster when an entire long page is scaled down. Other than that, the shrinking result looks good. The landing page maintains a clear structure, and the major content blocks remain visually consistent. Now, let's move to the light mode and dark mode comparison. On the left, we have the website displayed with the device using light mode. On the right, we have the same website with the device requesting dark mode. As we can see, both versions look almost identical. This indicates that the website does not currently provide a dedicated dark color scheme based on the user's system preference. You can scan the QR code with your phone to open the comparison and inspect it directly. Dark mode is not mandatory, but it can improve comfort for users browsing in low-light environments. The final section is what I call the AI design review. Here, I look for visual patterns that have become common in AI-generated landing pages and website templates. Some color combinations on this page, particularly the bright gradient accents, resemble styles frequently seen across AI products and modern software-as-a-service landing pages. A few of the gradients, glowing effects, card styles, and call-to-action buttons contribute to that familiar AI product aesthetic. That does not mean the design is poor or that it was necessarily generated by artificial intelligence. It simply means that some of its visual choices are now widely used across AI-focused products. Overall, RankPrompt has a professional and modern landing page. Its strongest areas are mobile responsiveness, typography, content organization, and visual consistency. The website also delivers generally strong initial loading metrics. The main opportunities for improvement are JavaScript execution time and total page load time. Widescreen spacing, full-page screenshot compatibility, and optional dark mode support could also be improved. I would also recommend checking the skip link behavior. The skip link should remain hidden until it receives keyboard focus. With improvements in these areas, RankPrompt could deliver an even faster and more refined user experience. This review was created using Previo. Thank you for watching.